Good afternoon. Down in St. Louis, Missouri today, Jason Phillips from Auto Appraise doing a pre-purchase inspection on a 1953 Jaguar XK 120 open two-seater roadster. I'm going to do the underbody right now because we got it up on the hoist and it's in spectacular condition underneath. The restoration is probably a little bit older, judging from the condition of the paint and the general wear, but I would say not too many miles have been put on the vehicle since the time it was done. Everything was taken apart. You can see there's no overspray on any of the suspension components. Everything detailed in black. Could stand a little dust and dirt style cleanup, but all the hardware looks like it was replaced. All the bushings changed. Real high gloss to the frame component all the way through the vehicle. Backing plates were done nice. Brake components look serviced and or newer. Replaced shocks. And again, the control arms are in nice shape. A few paint chips, some casual general wear from driving. Continuing to go down here through the underbody, the frame rails look just like this all the way through and through. All the wood was replaced, all the clips and hardware to the body, all done. Back sides of the steel fenders and quarters are in good shape with good magnetic adhesion. I laid magnets all up in there. The still photos will show that. Back sides of the fender skirts show good adhesion. There we go, that's better. Both sides have that kind of adhesion along the inner structure. Don't have enough magnets to do the whole car at the same time, but you get the idea. All the hardware, bushings and body shims were replaced. Inner rocker structure just very nice. No complaints, no issues. And then the detail along the sides of the frame rails, other than needing just a light cleanup, all the clips, brackets, lines, etc., all that was changed. 120s can be known for rust out issues. Down low, like any car, I suppose, along the fuel tank and the rear area, rear storage area, but car's got good adhesion down beneath.
They get another motor?
The stainless exhaust is in nice shape. Replacement system and proper and appropriate for this car. Hung appropriately, no real issues. Got a little bump rub action going on right there. I'll bet we might hear that on the test drive. Oh, possibly a little old leakage there where we clamp down. We'll see what that sounds like. System looks like it's in good shape though. Engine oil itself was clean and in good shape. At the bottom of the hash mark, typical of an old Jag. Have a little bit of seepage, as you can see on the bolt heads. Inspection cover back here is not present, but the detail along the sides of the motor, everything was trimmed out very nicely. There's a spot in the radiator that looked like it was maybe kind of wet, but doesn't feel wet. Just has a little bit more gloss to it. There's one of those on both sides. Transmission shows a little bit of seepage here at the plug and back here at this rear seal. But nothing. The car's been here for 3 hours and there's really nothing to speak of on the ground. I noted some stamps up here on the right side of the case. Those are not consistent with the heritage paperwork, but that is not necessarily a problem because my understanding is the Jaguar transmissions were stamped on the top and they're unable to be seen without pulling the tranny out of the unit. So no big heavy active leaking at the front or rear pan seals. That's kind of cool. A little bit of oil seepage off the back of the motor, probably coming down from the valve cover, gathering a little bit right there in the pocket or the webbing of the block, but it's very minuscule. And that dampness at the bottom of the carburetor does not seem like it's leaking. There's oil in the carburetors, of course, so it's not running out of there. I want to be careful not to pick on it too much because old Jaguars and old Harleys, they just leak. That's what they do. Rear end housing is in really nice shape. Everything was serviced back here. All new U-bolts, bushings, hardware, everything is just nice, cleanly done. No overspray on the castle nuts. You can tell everything was taken apart. A little bit of this hairline cracking is actually some paint that got on this axle bushing. That could be cleaned up there with some lacquer thinner and chipped off. Leaf springs look like they were serviced. Bushings are in good shape. Frame rails along the back, very nice. Backing plates again restored, very nice. Electric fuel pump was added, all new lines run to it. Those are worm style clamps, not the original style clamps that were used in the day, but a little more dependable and reliable. Looking at these suspension dampeners, they look like they were removed, repainted certainly, and I'm guessing likely serviced. And although hard to tell, we'll know a little bit more when we go down the road. A little bit of surface rust on top of that finish of the muffler. But the underpinnings of the vehicle are generally very clean, very nice. I don't know if you're gonna have a car like this to drive occasionally back and forth to shows and whatnot, if you're gonna want it much cleaner than this. Some of this oil dripping down onto the exhaust is the result of a little drip from coming a little higher, and that needs to be traced back up, see where it's coming from. Something can probably be tightened up there. So there we have it. Underbody is in very nice shape, typical with some fluid leaks. Reproduction 6-inch, 6x16-inch steel wheels, and reproduction hub caps. BFG Silvertown wide whites. I don't really see any dry cracking or visible issues in the tread or the sidewalls. I don't think they need to be serviced. They're probably a bit older. I notice the date codes over here. CYWM C2D8293. Can decode that later. Don't have that information with me. But all the tires look to be in pretty substantial shape with no real issues noted. No pitting or curb scuffing noted on the trim rings of any consequence. All the wheels look that way. All right, so let's do a recap. We get frame rails, inner rocker structure, frame, floors, rear end, transmission, lower engine, and suspension all covered. Let's start talking about the body while we're up on a hoist and we can see from this perspective. The whole body, first of all, the reason I magnet tested it is because the whole entire body's been skim coated and blocked and skim coated and blocked. It's nice and straight. But that being said, the magnetic adhesion is very, very minuscule on the exterior of this body. Only the first 200-ish bodies were aluminum back in '48 when they started producing the 120, and then they went to a steel body with a aluminum bonnet, aluminum deck lid, and doors. And as far as repairs go, there is a subtle crack in some body filler there where the bumper mounts, and it's hard to see when you're down, the car's down on the ground, but a point of consideration. There's some filler that's cracked there. a few small chips. That's probably one of the bigger chips in the car, in the wheel lip, and a few variations of chips around the exterior body. There's some hairline scratches. The dealer reported to me that they did not color sand, you know, in 3000 this thing and then polish it with a wheel, that they just kind of hand waxed it. There's some hairline scratches we'll show you when we get the car down. The paint work is very complete on the bottoms of the rocker structure, bottoms of the doors, bottoms of the skirts, or the spats as they are referred to. The fender skirts fit very nicely. Just slightly tighter in the rear, but 1953, I think that was pretty dang good. And not a lot of clearance here for changing the wheels out if you were going to add spokes. That's a 6-inch wide wheel, as I mentioned earlier. Door lines look good. There's a crack right inside this door line. It'll show easier when we get it down off the hoist. And then there's a few various hairline scratches that probably won't show up well in this video.
No.
Not too many comments to make on the bumpers and the hardware. All that was changed. All the gaskets, tail lights, headlight bezels, etc. All that was changed when the car was restored. And to save time, I'll tell you that this side of the car is pretty duplicate to the other side regarding every other comment I just made. Couple small paint touch-ups right here on the bottom of the skirt and the bottom of the dog leg of the quarter. And up here behind the passenger front tire, that's where we're at right now. A couple small little nicks and or imperfections. You know, chips and touch-ups from years of some casual usage. Nothing too abnormal. Good reflective quality on the paint. The color match is pretty consistent panel by panel. I don't really see where there's any panel repainting that has been done. I would say that the car got all painted all at once, and no other work was completed since that time. In a few various locations, there's some hairline, yeah, see, there's my finger right there. Just a few hairline scratches here and there. A lot of which look like they would polish out. I can't feel the edge with my fingernail, so I'm confident that 80% of the paint could clean up and buff up to a little bit nicer condition than what is showing right now. Some of this stuff may well be cosmetic. It just needs to be cleaned up. It was clean, just not super color sanded, buffed, and detailed before I got here. Inside the trunk is a tonneau cover with all the snaps. There's an additional cover here. I haven't quite figured out what that fits. It's slightly smaller and shaped differently than the tonneau cover. And then an original set of Jaguar tools. They look like they've had a little usage. I pulled the wrenches out. They all say Jaguar. Oops, come here. Jaguar on them. They tie up nicely. The trunk itself is in really nice shape. New mat. Wood's in good shape. It's all been changed. Cloth wiring harness all the way through the car. The cloth wiring harness is in nice shape. Rubber seal's been changed. Spare present, lower magnetic adhesion inside the trunk in great shape as well. Just a few hairline scratches and polishing marks along that sill. You're good. A few small contact chips along the edge of the deck lid. Still photos to show the prospective buyer. Latch works good. Inner trunk cover was changed. I'm probably certain that trunk light is switched somehow. New prop rod. I didn't see the side curtains, but the ad says there's some side curtains available. I've never seen anybody put them in. Trunk latch closes down and latches properly. That might cause us a little jiggling going down the road. We might hear that. We'll listen for it. Getting ready to get it fired up and get it outside the door. Engine temperature is 64 right now, 62, 64 degrees. And the floor is 64, so you can tell it hasn't run yet. Well, we're getting some cars moved around and pushed aside. Engine bay shows nice. Somebody detailed the engine bay in a very nice fashion. There's some chipping and cracking happening down low. And this spot could stand to be repaired and just touched up a little bit. A little bit of filler there present. Oil is clean and recently changed. The engine number, let me get my light. That's better. W8802-8, and that matches the trim tag, which also matches the British Heritage paperwork. Trim tag was removed from the firewall when the car was restored. No overspray on it. New screws present holding it down. And the numbers on this tag are verified against the numbers on the Heritage paperwork. Up here on the, let's move around. Up here on the body, there's two rivet holes. There's normally a body tag riveted there. It's currently not on there. The restorer may have removed it during restoration process and misplaced it. That certainly could have happened. Chrome cam covers are in real nice shape. Aluminum polished, rather. Polished aluminum. There's a few chips on the ceramic coating of the exhaust manifolds. Nothing too substantial. Down there is where you can see a little bit of the oil pooling on the webbing there at the bottom of the block. It kind of looks to me like it's either coming out of that tube that possibly shoots a signal up to the oil pressure gauge. Engine paint's in really nice shape. You see that over on the other side as well. But no big puddling or pooling or anything like that. Aluminum fan. Radiator core looks like it's in pretty good shape. Original Lucas style generator. Car was manufactured June 11th, 1953. Shipped in through port in Hoffman, New York. According, I think, to the Heritage paperwork is what it said, about three-ish weeks later. Engine bay could just stand some light touch-up cleaning, detailing. Carburetor linkage is in nice shape. No fuel leaks are seen or smelled. Small contact chips, a little crack right here in the aluminum hood, a little 1-inch crack, but structurally otherwise in nice shape. A couple small corresponding paint touch-ups and chips. All right, let's get this thing out of here. All right, we're gonna fire it up. I don't know if I mentioned there was an electric fuel pump added, but you can hear it. Not in the background, that is not what I was talking about. The car's showing 34,504 miles. home. Sounds good and tight. I didn't hear any ticking or any knocking upon startup. Up for a few minutes, get it outside. While I'm in the back of the car, there's a few hairline scratches and chips. That one's not going to wheel out. And there's a line here where the top sets down. Pretty common on this car. Haven't shown the interior yet of the convertible top. We'll show that more when we're outside. Very presentable. Running lights, please. All right, thank you. All right, let's get her out. We're running a little bit low on petrol, but the gauge is moving, and the little low light is flashing, so you know that's working. Water temperature starting to come up. Oil pressure is maintaining at about 40 pounds on the gauge. That water temperature is Celsius. Tachometer is operating. Didn't find the switch to operate the fog lights. But we'll work on that. Speedometer seems to be reading fairly accurate. Might be a little low on air on that right front tire. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds that way.
Yeah.
Plus the road's a little cold.
That's true. You got those old bias ply tires.
Seems to be running real good.
Odometer appears to be rolling, turning. Speedometer needle's not fluctuating any. Feels like we're doing about 30 miles an hour. We'll do a switcheroo fire drill in a couple minutes, and I'll drive back. You can be the cameraman. Jason Phillips from Auto Appraise. I'm down in St. Louis, Missouri today. Finishing up our pre-purchase inspection on a 1953 Jaguar XK 120, left-hand drive, 2-seater roadster. If you need service like this, 800-301-3886. There's my commercial. I'm going to have to check into intellectual property rights on that. To take a minute to get in this thing.
Okay.
Let me know when we're rolling.
We're rolling.
All right. Here we go. Speed turning. dash as I was going into second. We'll put the clutch down and give it another second on my retry here. Steering feels nice and tight. Brake pedal is nice. I got my hands off the wheel right now and then stabbing the brake pedal. A little draw to the right if anything, but we're barely moving, so we'll try that again in a minute. Alright, show my wheel again, please. Steering wheel.
Steering wheel.
We're going to take our lives into our hands here. Sound like Dantana driving around the corners. Or
pretty sharp S-curve.
I think that front tire might be a little low on the air.
Yeah. Did that to us last time, too.
Steering feels good. Show my wheel again, please. Car's tracking nice and straight. I'm going to touch the brakes again without.
Yep, that tire's low.
Hold on a minute. Yeah, so just a little bit of a draw to the right. Typical of drum brakes, that can be adjusted a little bit. What do we got for temperature? Still maintaining 30 to 40, is it? Celsius? I'll shoot that when we get back.
Can't beat that sound.
Sounds great, doesn't it?
Yes.
Alright. Get this curve a little slower so the tires don't. I guess they're going to squeal a little bit anyway.
You notice every left turn was fine. The right ones are the ones that seem to be a little bit of an issue. So we'll check the tire when we get back. Just past the orange sign up here. It says road work ahead. Right there to Caskets. Yeah, right here.
Caskets, there we go. I'm going to back off into second gear and downshift, and there was no grind going down into second gear. Looks about the same from over here. Alright, let's power this down real quick and
in St. Louis it could be raining and ice cubes, and then it could be 75 degrees in a minute. Not an easy car to drive one-handed.
no, it's not. I think I'm not trying to eat a hamburger right now. Alright, we'll go run the car one more time. Alright, we're going to let the car sit here and just idle a little bit for a minute, and we still got some pretty good gauge readings showing just over 40 pounds oil. Temp gauge is actually hanging out about 40 Celsius. Amp gauge is all the way over to the plus, kind of pegged over there. Might need to put a gauge on it and see what's happening. Quickly go back around the car. The jams show nice. Gaskets changed on the doors. All the hardware looks good. Down here is a crack in some body filler right there. There's some still photos of that for the potential purchaser to view. A small contact chip here where the door is rubbing, and That's pretty commonplace. These wind deflectors are dropping in kind of on their own, and you got to be careful, else they'll get caught in the door jamb like that one did. There's a screw missing out of that one that needs to be replaced. I'll get over there and show it in a minute. Actually, the wind deflector itself will now need to be replaced. A little scuff on the seat. I'll pull the top up in a minute. We'll look at that. The steering wheel presents nicely. It does not appear to be loose. The whole car's moving as I do that. Paint on the dashboard surface is very presentable. The leather wrap was done, and I think the whole interior kit was replaced in the car. There's really not much to talk about inside this car that is worthy of mention, other than some of these little small scuffs just from wear. Top doesn't look like it spent much time pulled out, but we're going to pull it out anyway. Even though I saw a little bit of an oil drip down beneath the car and dripping onto the exhaust, I don't smell it. Again, jambs are in good shape. Door handles, door skin lips. Again, this crack is new, I believe. I did not notice it earlier, but there is a screw missing out of this, causing this to drop down to get in the way of the door. The screw needs to be replaced in there. Chrome windshield frame was changed. Glass is in good shape. No cracks that I could see. Nothing big enough to witness without a magnifying glass. Reflective quality of the paint's very nice. I'm at least 3 feet away from the car. Getting outside here, it looks good. The color match is very nice. No discrepancies there. Tark has seen a little bit of detailing in the rear compartment. Ground disconnect on the main battery there. Coming over to this battery. 6-volt setup. Body-wise, the only real flaw to speak of is there is an out